What do you drink? Like, what, you're at home, you're working, what do you drink?
Antifreeze. No. It depends. In the mornings, it's usually like a protein shake, but like if it's just like a casual drink to sip on, coffee, I do. I had that one that I was drinking, which is like the Diet Sprite, with like a little bit of green Hawaiian punch.
Mm.
It's 20 calories. It's amazing.
Do you do straight water or no? Like, do
No,
water?
I don't drink water.
Okay.
No, Lauren, as when she hears this, she's gonna have a conniption. Yeah, I really don't drink a lot of water. I might drink like 40 ounces a day. Not
That's
much.
good.
Well,
That's better than a lot of people.
but I also work out, so 20 of those ounces come straight from like my water bottle, and I'm at the gym.
Okay.
And at that point, it's kind of a wash, because I sweat it all out.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, I do drink carbonated water. I'm drinking one right now.
Oh, yeah.
And
Agency people, that's an agency people thing. Like, that's something that they do. I don't know if it's just like a
well, it tastes like, I've always described carbonated water as a zero alcohol, zero carb beer, like a very light beer. Because it kind of, I don't know. If you were blind, deaf, dumb, and punched in the face, it would taste like beer.
yeah.
No,
Okay.
but I can kind of see it. But when I do work at night, like 10 o'clock at night, I might have a glass of red wine or a couple fingers of scotch.
Okay.
What about you?
Okay.
What do you drink?
This week I started doing Gatorade Zero, like the blue kind, and it's been pretty okay. I told you this was a while back now when I went through the whole learning about Propel makes me like need to pee all the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I spent a lot of time and money to ultimately learn that Propel makes me pee. That's fun. But then also I was getting way too much calcium. So I needed to stop taking a multivitamin. And since then, like Propel was my favorite. So I was drinking water, but water does get boring eventually. So I found these natural lemonade. They were okay. But yeah, most recently I was trying that Gatorade, like Gatorade Zero.
Uh-huh.
It's pretty okay. I'm pretty okay with it.
For a while, I was doing like those little bottles of like syrup that you kind of like squirt into.
Yeah.
And they're like 0 calorie too. But those are amazing.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah, Lauren puts it in her vodka. So her drink is literally like vodka, water, plus like the pink lemonade version of
Is it
that.
Neo? Isn't that was like the
That's
big one?
that's a
wasn't it?
brand. Yeah, I don't think we do Walmart brand everything, except cottage cheese. Cottage cheese is one of those things you have to get name brand, or else it sucks. There's some listener that goes, all cottage cheese sucks.
Yeah, I don't really eat cottage cheese unless it's with something else.
Oh, I love it. I'll eat it out of the tub.
All right. Well, what we're talking about today, what's our topic?
All right. Today on the Everbro podcast, we're back talking about software and tools that you don't need.
You don't need, not the ones you do.
Yeah, not specifically, not specific tools, but the actual topic is software and fancy tools aren't going to get you more clients, and they're not going to save you more money, especially in the beginning, because you can do everything for free. Essentially, we did. We started very bootstrapped. We had our invoicing software was PayPal. It was free, except the percentage on top of the charge. But again, it's no risk free. I should say that.
Right. Nothing up front.
Yeah, and we had HubSpot free CRM. So HubSpot has a free CRM that we can just kind of house all of our client information in there and notes and things like that. And it does the job. It does a really good job. We just made the jump to the paid CRM this year, and it saved us a lot of time to focus on clients. But if you don't have a lot of clients right now, you don't need to save time. You need more clients. So, jumping up to a next level CRM just for the sake of jumping up next level CRM to have more time isn't a good idea. And if your idea of doing that so you can spend more time on acquisition, I think that's a bad decision, because you're saving more time in the hopes that you'll acquire more clients with your acquisition efforts, and it's not a good plan.
Risky.
Yep, I'll refer you back to episode 6. But we also had. Wait, is that only tool we had? We had Raven Tools reporting.
I'm trying to think. What I remember is coming on board, auditing expenses, and realizing that our monthly recurring was less than $100 a month. That's what I remember. I don't remember what all it was on. I would imagine there was Google Suite, Google Workspace now.
No, there wasn't. You switched us over to Google Workspace because I was using that really terrible email platform that GoDaddy had.
Oh, right. Yeah, no. So we switched over so we moved email to, Workspace is more than just email, but that's really when we pitch it to clients and we tell them, hey, you should probably use this. That's kind of the big thing that we pitch with it. But it's also cloud storage. It's Google Meet. It's Google Calendar. I mean, you can already use those things with Calendar, but they integrate nicely and it's handy. And it's really cheap for everything that you're getting. So we didn't switch over to that, but we would have been paying effectively that with GoDaddy, just a different price. Then we moved the domain to Hover.
Yeah, so basically a website email. Well, you're just talking about paid stuff. So we had paid stuff. We had website email. I had a phone.
Yes.
A cell phone line from Verizon. But with that, I had my personal line, which was like $100 some, and then like the business line of the business app was only a $35 add-on. So it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't a ton. I just didn't want people calling my personal cell phone, which is a good decision. But
smart.
And then we had I don't think I had a reporting software. I think I did everything manual. Well, we didn't have any clients when you joined because we had we had Inside the Box, but that was it.
We had 2 clients.
Oh, no, we didn't. You're talking about Green again.
No, we had 48.
Oh, but that was just a website client. All he did was hosting. Or he didn't even. Yeah, all he did was.
But at the time, that was important because we
were building.
Helped us cover our monthly expenses.
Yeah, we were building his website, but that was the one that we only charged like $750 for. But
it is the most important thing for people to think about, because when you start from there, I'm technically negative every month right now. Like for example, my side, everything that I run under a personal LLC that's under my name that's not through Evergrow is technically in the red every year because I just want to be able to cover my butt if anything happens that's under my personal name, like my website. And I think the baseline for people in that situation is like domain, website, email, and then Aweber in addition to just having like Google Workspace. So it cost me like, I don't know, maybe $600 a year or something like that. But when people are starting and they're thinking about tools and services that they need, that's the baseline you need to cover, is just those things which you need to operate. So as soon as you can get whatever your billable expenses or billable services to clients to cover that, then you're finally happy.
Because ITBM was paying like $500 a month, so that was enough to cover our monthly expenses, recurring, and then 48 off our actual landscaping client. We weren't charging them hosting at the time because they were on HostGator then. That was before we had our shared hosting, and then we switched them over. But that $750 we wrote out until we could get more clients, and didn't pay ourselves.
Working not for free, but not making money, that's for sure.
So we couldn't go out there and just get a bunch of software and pay for it from out of our pocket because it didn't make any sense. We needed clients first.
We had things that we had to pay for that weren't even fancy. It was just the obligatory baseline.
Yeah, I will say if you're getting software to help you do things, you should probably learn the thing first. And it's a notion that's been taught to you in school. Before you use a calculator, you learn how to do on paper math or on paper
Yeah.
algebra. It's like I'll like this. You brought up a good point before the episode started. You like with bid and budget management, which is if you don't know how to manage your budget and your bids in Google Ads or even Facebook, then you shouldn't be looking at a software to help you with that and help you run ads. You should learn how to run the ads without the software first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can go straight into that one because I got feelings about that. And and I was a convert because originally the agency that we worked at, when I left, they were on a Quizio. And I'm not sure what the big ones are anymore. It's probably at the time it was Quizio, SEMrush. Do they do bid and budget management too?
I believe so.
Okay, because
and then
in
there
my
was
brain, the big dogs are still Marin, Acquisio, and Kenshu. And those are the biggest. And when I went to my next agency, they weren't using anything and they were small at the time, so it kind of made sense. And then as we grew, we looked into it, even did some testing, and then it actually just wasn't cost effective. Like the benefit that we saw from it for performance wise wasn't worth the effort to get things switched over and then start using it. So we found out that we were just fine with how things were. Eventually, I think that there's kind of two facets of that. You first have however they want to position campaign optimization. So we're going to make the most out of your bidding. And with the growth of more and more AI in like natively, wherever you're running ads, whether it's Facebook, Google Ads, Bing, etc., has gotten better. And I haven't, it's been a while since I've tested it, but haven't really seen the performance to justify using it. But then pacing, I think, is probably one of the biggest things for most agencies to think about. And when I left, we were doing, and I hated it. I was like, I'm not going to do this. If you guys want to do, if somebody else wants to do this, that's fine. But if you're going to put this on me, then I will figure out a solution that I'm not doing this, because we had one of the guys on the team who would just pull a report manually every day. And then it wasn't much work, but he still had to do it in a Google Sheet. And I think we were using Supermetrics too, to simplify things a little bit. But still, I was like, look, this is not efficient. But I'm also the guy who says, if you make me do something twice, I'm going to figure out a way that I never have to do this again on my own. So it's more so just like I find it personally insulting. If you're like, I want you to do the same thing, on this cadence manually all the time. Like, really? That's how much you think of me, that I have to do this and I can't just figure out a way to automate this?
3 years later, Cody is still following up on invoices.
Not anymore. Well, I guess, yeah, a little bit.
You do it
I
less.
don't really. Yeah, no, it's gotten a lot better now. And yeah, I've mentioned that's one of those things, like, next person we might want to finally consider.
I want to go on a tangent about AI real quick.
Okay. Let's go.
No software that you pay for is going to have AI. It has basically a bunch of if and then statements, or if then and statements just stapled together, which is by definition not AI. It's just a bunch of algorithms put into place, and algorithms can go wrong. Algorithms aren't always great.
You've seen the thing about the Google's,
yeah,
the guy who thinks their AI's
self-aware. I saw the headlines. I'll tell you this: if an algorithm can't become self-aware, it's not AI.
Mm-hmm.
Artificial intelligence isn't just a bunch of algorithms stapled together to optimize stuff. Not that any of that is relevant to what they're talking about, but it's just kind of like, I don't know, when people call something, but it's not that. And it's like white gold, for instance. It's not gold. It's just not gold. Rose gold, it's just not gold. Why are we calling this rose? Iron Man, not made out of iron.
Here's a fun fact too. When I worked at K's, everybody like white gold's the thing now. Everybody loves it. They're like, oh
Because
yeah,
it's
it's
cheaper than
amazing.
platinum and looks the same.
Yeah, but they either one or two things don't realize that they're allergic. Because I can't tell you how many times I had women come in saying, I'm breaking out. What do I do? And then we would just tell them to use nail polish on the inside of their ring to put a clear coat. Because if they really wanted to wear it that badly, then that was one way to do it. But also, it turns yellow over time, so you have to get a rhodium plated, and that's.
I didn't know about that.
But that's what people like. That's what's in. It's all the rage. So,
Wow.
and when it comes back from rhodium plating, it looks very cool. So that's a cool thing. But
cool. I'm glad we have a jeweler on the team.
not anymore. And to be fair, this was me for like what 3 or 4 months. So I'm definitely not a wizard. Just
You only worked at K's for 3 or 4 months? Oh, I thought you worked there longer.
It was pulling teeth. That was the last job I had before getting into this, and that's why I think I said it before too. When
So you worked at Walmart before K's?
Yeah, it went Walmart, Sam's Club, K's, then this basically.
Well, when you say this, you mean marketing. You don't mean everything.
Yeah. No, I was like, I'm going from K's.
Yeah, because then you went to Target Click, which was acquired by Mud, and then Mud to Spinutech.
Spinutech. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now I was an OG at Spinutech now with how big they are, but it was really great. I mean, I tell people all the time too, because honestly, like if somebody reached out to me now and they're like, "Where can I work?" I'd be like, "Hey, it's a good place. You want a job? You want to get into this?" I mean, you probably can't be new at this point. You probably need at least some experience, but I stayed there as long as I did because I told Mark, who's the CEO, I was like, I will leave this when I don't need a job anymore. Because if I need another job, I'm just not gonna leave. As far as jobs go, this one rocks.
I wonder if the listener just heard my cat. Yeah, my cat was just. That was a really good impression. I'm not gonna lie. But that's actually Lauren's cat, and she if anybody that watches Always Sunny in Philadelphia, just imagine Mac's mom in a cat form. That's this cat, and lately she's been coming out of wherever she lives and just meows like she's been chewing on broken glass or a disco ball, and it's just awful, and she won't shut up. And she's also like 18 years old. So
just making everybody know she's still there.
Thanks, Mitz. I wasn't asking. Well, hopefully she stays quiet for the rest of the episode. But back from my tangent on AI, did you have anything else to say about bid and budget management?
Not much other than especially I'm not convinced anybody anymore really even necessarily needs it. I think budget pacing when you get big, but absolutely nobody needs it from the beginning.
Can you explain what that is a little bit? Also, keep in mind that for you coaches and consultants, this might not be relevant to you. This is more just kind of like a paid ad thing.
Yeah. So you get a media team eventually big enough that you're managing a lot of client budgets, and you're accountable to how much money you spend in a given month. And the platforms themselves, actually, Facebook's very respective of this, and a lot nicer. Google really doesn't care. If you don't watch it, they will spend as much money as you let them.
Facebook is crazy. Facebook and LinkedIn, well, because they're impression based. I mean, if they have a fraction of a penny to spend, they can serve one impression. Mm-hmm. And if you set a lifetime budget of $1,000, it's going to spend exactly $1,000.
That's awesome. It's really nice. Google doesn't care at all. They're like, well, you said $100. Here's $1,000. So you do have to watch it. You have to be especially careful. When we get newbies, that's really one of the biggest things I tell them is, look, most things you can make a lot of mistakes here, and we'll be very kind and forgiving. You know, everybody makes mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes, there's one mistake that can crush everybody here, and that's punching in too many zeros in the budget column for Google Ads. So if there's one thing that I will lose it on, it's probably going to be that. But
That
yeah,
happened at
so
my day job actually. Instead of oh my god, this is bad. Instead of $1,000 lifetime budget, $1,000 daily budget got put in,
nope.
and it went for 14 days. So do the math, and that's how much we overspent for this client.
Yeah, so don't play with that. But so yeah, why this is important is because most of the time you have a monthly agreed upon amount that you spend, and when you're an agency, you need to keep track of multiple accounts and how they're pacing. So we call it budget pacing, and that's just monitoring where they're at in a given month based on how much they're supposed to spend. And when you get a lot of accounts or too many accounts, it's a lot to keep track of. So there are tools out there that monitor this and make it very easy for you to just check in and see when there are issues. Some of them also have like built-in features that are probably ethically debatable, but not debatably convenient.
I think
Very
you
easy.
need to dive into that. What I'm curious.
Okay. So let's say you get to the last week of the month and you've spent 5% of the budget that you're supposed to spend. And rather than dealing with billing and everything that you'd have to clean that up, straighten it out, we just roll things over. If we don't spend the budget, or even if we overspend a little bit too, we notify the client. We say, hey, it's really hard to spend exact numbers. We're rolling over the exceeding amount, and we'll take care of it next month, right? But I've seen, I can't remember the tool. I don't even really want to say it, even if I did know it, but it was a spend the budget button. Where you get to the last few days and you realize, oh no, I didn't spend what I needed to. Let's floor it and put the pedal to the floor and make sure all the budget gets spent this month, so we don't have to deal with underspend and the problems that come with that. So
Oh my.
debatable, because most likely what's going to happen in those situations is, let's say it's Google Ads. What was previously $5 per click, you're going to start seeing like 30 and wonder what just happened, right? Not necessarily, but very possible. And
it's easier to explain to a client like, oops, we didn't spend all of your budget. We're going to roll it over, versus, yeah, I forgot to in the last of the month, so I made the executive decision to just spend it all in 3 days. I think that's going to piss them off a lot more than you just being like, hey, sorry, I didn't spend your budget. Let's roll it over and have a bigger month next month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And once you start getting further into day parting and things like that and realizing just how much the performance varies, those things can have an even bigger impact. But I think in general, for most accounts, because smaller accounts especially, you get very big accounts, it's different when people are spending millions a month or something like that. But people really will freak out and be like, my ads weren't running at this time, and it's like, yeah, well, it's not really that big of a deal because it was $20 or something like that. But when the numbers get big and the performance really changes by time of day or day of week, that sort of thing, then those things really do get impacted. So it eventually becomes very important to monitor how your budgets are pacing. And we used to have, this was our agency, Jake, before I left, we would call it we would shame each other, because we'd have a meeting for people who overspent, and then they would get their names called out. And then whenever somebody's name will get called out, I'd be like, shame. You just whisper it, like
That's funny.
just get louder.
Was it like
every time.
Was it like a funny call out, or was it like a?
Oh, you cut out for a sec. Can't hear you.
Oh, was it like a? Oh, wait, sorry. I'm not cut out. There we go. Was it like a funny call out, or was it like just like hey, don't do this?
No, it was funny, but it shouldn't have been.
Oh, so it was like a hey, don't do this, but it ended up being funny.
It was funny because what else could you do? I mean, I don't want to. I'll rip on us instead of the company. We were young and dumb, and yep, we were young and dumb. I'll just say that. But Haley, who was our boss at the time, would remind us and be like, "Guys, this isn't really funny. Like this comes out of our department, So
yeah, no, I mean it's a little funny. Where were we, man? Oh, speaking of budgets, so every now and then I get somebody for some reason that wants to listen to me talk for an hour and like pays me for it. So I'm in groups all the time, just kind of perusing Facebook, and some people want to talk to me for an hour and pay me just to answer their questions relating to certain things. So the first time this happened, I think I charged like $80 an hour for this guy to question me about my agency and just how I started it and things like that. You should have waited because he would have got this for free on this podcast. And then another guy recently, within the last week, he wanted to pay me. I was like, okay, I don't know, $60 because he wanted to talk about ads, and I'm not as experienced in ads as I am starting an agency. So Cody's my ad guy, but if he wants to talk about SEO, I'll talk to him. I'll do $80. But he owns a pest control company, and I'm like, hey, that's kind of in our wheelhouse. I'm familiar with this. And he had very simple questions about ads because I had him send them over to me in advance. And I thought these are really easy. So we talked for an hour. I gave him a little bit more time, but then he paid and everything. He just messaged me on Facebook, I think yesterday or 2 days ago, and he goes, "Hey, should I invest in, or should I get the ClickCs, which is just like an ad? It's supposed to stop click fraud. So click fraud is the idea that your competitors or bots are clicking on your ads and just costing you money in the hopes that you stop running ads, or they drive your business into the ground." But I was like, no, don't get that. Especially if you're like spending $200 to $300 a month on your business and you have a very small business, for two reasons. One is because the click fraud isn't a thing that's happening at a business your size. And two, I feel like softwares like that make click fraud seem like a bigger problem than it actually is. And if you run ads and you think like 100% of your ads are bots because you actually dove into the data, it's 100% bounce rate, or you're getting zero conversions, maybe take a look into it. But at the same time, Google can detect click fraud on its own. If you ever searched for an ad or searched for your business multiple times and it stops showing you ads, that's part of its algorithm to determine if someone might be, just clicking on ads but not actually looking in the market for anything. They can also blacklist your IP too from ads if you are clicking on ads but not taking any kind of action. So it's already built into Google's algorithm. I don't exactly have a lot of experience with ClickCs, but I mean, we spend like thousands to tens of thousands of dollars a month in Google ads, and we have noticed zero click fraud.
Yeah, I think it's just something that isn't. I mean, what are you going to do? Media buying is media buying. You buy the traffic. If the traffic's good, you keep buying it. If the traffic is bad, you stop buying it. Depending on where you're buying the traffic from, where your audience is. I mean, Google ads especially is tier 1. I mean, it doesn't get better. That's the best traffic you can buy. You want to start moving your way down. I mean, you've got misclicks with social traffic on mobile, that sort of thing. It happens. These things are unavoidable. You start getting to really sketchy networks, you're going to have more click fraud. But ultimately, what it comes down to is you're buying what you're buying. Are you happy with what you got? Good, cool, keep doing it. Don't, okay, then don't spend your money there. Put it wherever else you need to. I mean, it's just, it's whether or not things are cost effective. That's how I always view it is, are you happy with what you got for the money you spent? And then if, but I just don't overly complicate things. It's just not needed. Or if it is, if you hit a tier where it ultimately is needed, then come back and convince me, because either you're doing much better than me, I guess, or yeah, I just need to be re-educated or something, because it's not a priority, not a big enough one. There's much bigger things, much higher up on our list of things that matter.
100%. This whole podcast episode started. This idea for this episode started because there was this guy I went to church with, and he referred one of his, I don't know if it was a family friend or whatever, but young kid. He was probably just in college, kind of a well-off kid actually. Wanted to start his own agency, but I think it was kind of a situation where being an entrepreneur or a business owner sounded cool because he wasn't hurting for money. But I could tell that he took an online guru course, and because of the questions he started asking me, we got like a Facebook chat, and after he kind of linked us up, and they were like, what do you do in revenue? I'm like, why does it matter what I do in revenue? Are you trying to vet me to see if I'm a good enough candidate to learn from? Because as far as I know, you make zero. And so take any advice you can get. I told him, and I think it was like, I think at the time it was when we first started, but I think we were doing like 60,000 a year. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that was, I told him, I was like, yeah, I have a partner, and I don't think that was enough for him to take me seriously. Mm-hmm. And we had just started, so we were in a pretty good spot for where we were. We weren't even paying for any software.
The funny thing is, you flip that though, because I've had the opposite where people, I've just had to give them a loose number, and to me, like the big milestone was always hitting 10K MRR. Like once we hit 10K monthly recurring revenue.
That's what the gurus say too. 10K a month.
Yeah, and to me, that's just like the baseline. I'm like, okay, we can start to take ourselves a little bit seriously. Like, yeah. So, but then you get people who are like, "That's amazing." I'm like, "Whoa, guys, this really isn't cool." Like, this is not big enough to brag about.
Well, it's good if you're by yourself though, because if you're by yourself, mm-hmm. that's $100,000, $120,000, but minus expenses. But 10K by yourself is very stressful. I think you're going to be working 60 hours a week by yourself, and you're going to hate your life. You're doing things you don't love. You are invoicing your finances, things like that.
Cool. You made a harder job for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. But like last episode we were talking about gurus, and like they sell, you can get 5 clients at $2,000 a month. You're not going to get 5 clients on $2,000 a month. You're not. And if you do, come back to me and tell me how you did it, because it's not going to happen. And if also, I'm going to add on a layer of complexity to that. All 5 of those clients have to stay on for a year, and then come back to me and tell me that you did it. Because business owners, let me start over. Business owners are not stupid. They're not just going to hand over their money and give it to some guy who doesn't know what they're doing, or girl who doesn't know what they're doing, and not expect some kind of return on that. Mm-hmm. So if they're not getting a return in 2 months, they're going to leave. If they don't like their first month, they're going to leave. So I get fired up when I talk about these stupid gurus. They're not stupid. They're all really smart. They're all really smart at taking people's money.
They're good at that.
And also, if you've taken a guru class and you're listening to this, and don't feel like I'm berating you, because I also took one. I am just very frustrated at the industry and trying to get people out from underneath that. But anyways, back to this kid. Um, didn't want to listen to me. And then he was asking me what kind of CRM I use. I was like, I use HubSpot. It's free. You don't need to pay for anything, and that's all I need for right now. I can't remember what CRM he was looking at. It was like a ClickFunnels type thing, but it had like you could build. Maybe it was ActiveCampaign. No, it was more than that. It cost like $300 a month, and it was like it you could build landing pages on it, build like customer acquisition funnels and sales funnels and all this fancy crap. And I remember asking him, why do you need that? And he goes, oh, well, so I have, so I can manage clients better. And I was like, dude, you need to get a client. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't understand the mentality of getting software to thinking that software is going to land you more clients, because at the end of the day, clients don't care about what kind of software you use. They just want to see results. I guess you could look fancier. Like we've been sending out like Word documents and Google Sheets for like their onboarding documents and like our sales presentation. Up until just recently, it was literally just me sending a really long email with like section headers. And then Cody and Lisa put together a deck, like a Google presentation, and turn it into a PDF. And it's still very basic, but it looks cleaner. But we didn't go out to an artist and have them design like a trifold or brochure or something. And I literally tell prospects that, hey, if you want a fancy agency, that's not us. We get the job done at this price, and if you want fluff, you can go somewhere else. And people eat that up. They love it.
Like probably most importantly too is, I mean, it cuts down a little bit on time. You're able to just attach this and say, hey, here's our general services, right? I mean, let us know what you think. You can personalize the rest of the message as you need to, but it makes things easier with your process too, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like I mean, I still type out a little bit more, but I feel like I have to think less too. Like, everything's in there. I mean, I gotta work with you on it a little bit too, because I think some of it can be confusing if I pitch it a certain way. But that's an offline thing. But yeah, I think just be very conscious of the tools that you are looking to go buy. Tools are just tools. They are completely ineffective if you don't know how you're to use them or don't know what you're doing with them. If you don't know how to build a house, you don't need a hammer. Learn how to build a house first, and then you can get your hammer. And then maybe once you know how to use a hammer, then get a nail gun. You don't need to start out with all these. It's if you have a nail gun but don't know how to build a house, you're gonna cause a lot of damage. That's all I had to say on this.
We could mention reporting quick, I guess, and just because that's probably the next biggest one is
I got two actually.
Okay.
Because not everybody needs reporting, because some people are coaching, but agreement software. So like when you type out your agreements and have people sign them, it can literally be as easy as sending over a Google Doc and saying sign and scan this over. People can scan with their phone now, but there are softwares out there that are very simple to use that are just like click to sign, and they actually have like a signature thing. We used Concord for a while. That was a concordnow.com.
Yep.
And it was fantastic. They had a free version that we could create templates on. We could send over via email, and they could electronically sign. It's no longer free now. It's $19 a month for the basic version. And as soon as they did that, we got off. That was actually right when we invested in HubSpot's paid sales CRM. And they had a quote feature in there that we could do the exact same thing with Concord in, and just make it super easy.
But if we couldn't, we probably still would have just dropped $20 a month and kept doing it, right? I mean,
yeah, probably would. Yeah, I would say we'd do that, or I would look for some other free version of the software, or try to create an agreement in Google Docs.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
it's just, it's not, it doesn't need to be as professional as a software you spend money on, especially if you don't have any clients. Like, be scrappy when you first start, and that's fine. Um, but if you want to run negative when you first start, I guess that's fine. Just be smart about it.
Mhm.
Pick and choose your software. Would you rather have reporting for $20 a month, or would you rather have an agreement for $20 a month?
Mhm.
Because you start layering both those in, and now you're $40 a month in, $300 a year, and your suddenly your costs are building up. That doesn't even include your hosting and your domain and your email.
Mhm.
All right, reporting. Lead us in.
Reporting is a big one. It's a really big one. It's probably, I think it's one of the most important things. Um, and there's a ton of them out there, a ton of options, and they vary dramatically uh, in price. But really, again, as long as it conveys what you need it to, and then your clients are happy and then they understand, then cool, you're good to go. I've seen some that like start at $500 and go up from there. That's insane. Nobody should be starting out there at all. And even the people who move to that, um, I had been a part of many conversations of, not sure how to word this. Um, I think it's a common, people grow into their money. I think agencies also feel obligated to grow into their money so that when they get bigger and they think that they're doing better, that they feel obligated to pay more for these services to make themselves look more expensive or whatever as well. And um, it's not always as impressive. In fact, things were fine before. And it's just creep. It's just money creep. And you don't need to do it. Don't fix what isn't broken. And especially don't go the other way. Don't don't break things further and spend more money doing it.
Dude, I know
And I,
you hate Neil Patel,
mm,
but I was watching a video. I think it might have been him with Brian Dean, just like sitting against a white backdrop, and they were talking about the different marketing softwares that they pay for their agencies. And like, if you're into SEO, you know who those two people are. Brian Dean from Backlinko, which was just acquired by SEMrush,
mm,
and Neil Patel. You should know who Neil Patel is. But Cody doesn't like them very much. At least Neil Patel. I don't know how you feel about Brian Dean.
he's okay.
But
He used to have really good stuff. It's been so long since I've really seen much of either of them. But Neil Patel articles, I'm always like, cool. This is a 4,000 word article that could have been 500.
yeah, I agree. But I think Neil Patel was saying that they only spent like $200 a month on marketing software, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know a lot about marketing software out there, that can be easily just be one piece, and that's it. And that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of a big deal for someone as big as that, only purchasing or using one software. It kind of goes to show that you don't need a lot of the stuff that's out there, especially someone as big as him. We spend $0 on marketing software if you
Let's
don't
say,
count reporting.
yeah, if it's as simple as doing SEO, I think that I think most people who get worried about that stuff and make a conscious, like it's constantly on their brain, it's because they don't know how to do SEO. Like
Hmm.
doing SEO is not that hard. And it's not even, it doesn't require the best. Really, I still believe that the best tools are free. Maybe not free in the sense like I'm still a huge fan of the Google Keyword Planner. It's amazing. It rocks. Yes, you have to spend money on ads in order to get access
No.
to good numbers.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
To get good numbers, yeah, they'll give you numbers, but not granular ones.
yep, yeah. So like if you just sign up and you're not spending any money at all, and then you get the crappy ranges that they give you, that sucks. But if you can get real numbers that they give you when you do spend money, and it doesn't have to be much. I think it's just like we've seen like $100 a month. That's enough to give you access to the data that you need. Um, and again, that's like, don't spend it just to do that. Like either do it for your client, or maybe you're spending internally to market yourselves, whatever. Still, it's effectively free because you're not paying for it directly. And the other stuff too, like it doesn't cost you money to update page titles or to do link outreach.
How is
Or
that like oh, backlink explorer? You mean Search Console?
Mhm.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
and like things like domain authority and stuff like that aren't real metrics by Google. So I mean, you're just paying to see a metric that isn't even a real metric. And yeah, it could be a decent indicator, but so is Search Console. Also, you can get a lot of that stuff for free, anyways, if you want to know it. But you manage your links through Search Console. We don't really look at competitor links that much because frankly I don't care. If my client's not ranking well, I'm going to figure out how to make him rank well. I'm going to get him better industry links and
Yeah, that's partly our niche, but yeah. It's not a big thing for us.
Yeah. So, well, is that it?
Yeah, that's all. That's all I got.
I like how we end these. It's just always like, well, is that it?
We good? We're good.
We should start ending these like how Ron Swanson ends speeches in Parks and Rec. I think he just says, end of speech.
End of speech.
End of podcast. Oh, we'll just end it there.
It was like, is that it? Did it actually?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it actually ended.
See ya.